Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to do a tutorial on how to apply for the Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology graduate admission. That is for either a master or a PhD. That is a Master of Science and a PhD, because Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology is a science institution and it is among the 6 university institutions in South Korea that is very highly regarded by the South Korean government. This is one of the South Korean institutions where if you should succeed in graduating with a degree from this institution, including Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology, KAIST, that's Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, you have UST, University of Science and Technology, which is in Daejeon, and then you have DGIS, that's Daegu Gyeongbok Institute of Science and Technology. There is one more that I cannot recall right now. Among the university institutions that I have named, if you should succeed in graduating with a degree from any of those university institutions, you will be put towards the path of obtaining a permanent resident if your desire is to maybe work and then obtain a permanent resident to stay in Korea for long, and why not even obtain a South Korean passport. They would equally help you in getting a job, especially if you can get a letter of recommendation from your professor, that is the professor who will be supervising your thesis while you're studying. Without taking too much time, we are going to do a tutorial on how to apply for either a Master of Science or a PhD in the university. The online application is open and the deadline is on the 15th of April 2024, and that is going to be for the fall 2024 semester. That being said, let's look at this document. You have this important document, graduate prospectus. It is an important document that you should have open when applying online. I'll provide a link as to where you can download this document down in the description of this video. It is a document that is very important. It has all the graduate schools that are available, that is the majors that are available for application at Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology in Gwangju, South Korea. So you have some of this data that you might want to know, the QS ranking and the Young University ranking. Other important information here, as well as information about financial support. It is important to note that this scholarship is going to cover your full tuition fee for every semester. They would equally pay your one-time matriculation fee, but there is a condition for them to pay this one-time matriculation fee, which stands at 680,000 Korean won. The condition for you to get this matriculation fee waived is for you to get a letter of recommendation from either your dean or head of department of the graduating university. So if you graduated from a university and you want to now do maybe a master or PhD in South Korea, make sure that you get one letter of recommendation from your dean or your head of department, and this is a sample of the letter of recommendation that is supposed to be filled for the waiver. It is titled Matriculation Waiver Application Fee Form. Letter of recommendation for matriculation fee waiver. Your dean or head of department is supposed to fill out this form. So this is like an extra letter of recommendation. Normally you're supposed to provide 2 letters of recommendation. We will look at the other letter of recommendation and how you go about sending an email to your recommender for them to recommend you for the scholarship. So this is the letter of recommendation form for matriculation fee waiver. They are supposed to answer all of these questions and then sign and then put the date here. There is this other letter of recommendation. It's supposed to be 2. It's the normal letter of recommendation that you can either get it from your professor or somebody who did supervise you when you were doing maybe your Bachelor of Science, and there is a format that the letter of recommendation is supposed to follow when naming it. It is supposed to be something like this. If you look here, there is a name, there is a country, there's a professor's name. First, there is the application number, there is the name of the applicant, there is the country of the applicant, and then there is the professor's name. They want you to follow that format. So this is it: student's application number, student's name, nationality, recommender's name. It is supposed to be named like that, and that is supposed to be done by your professor, because they will fill out this form and then upload it to the link that will be sent to them. They're supposed to fill out all of this information and then answer these questions. It is important that you make sure you ask them to follow that format. And then back to the financial support. It says here only applicants who submit the waiver form. We already talked about it. It is important that you make sure you get a letter of recommendation either from your dean or head of department if you want this amount to be waived. And then there is a monthly stipend for all international students. For Master of Science applicants, they are going to receive on a monthly basis 600,000 Korean won. That is like less than $600 per month. But do not worry about this money, because living in South Korea is relatively cheap compared to other countries like Japan, where I've visited, and maybe Germany and some other parts. Though if you ask me, Thailand is cheaper, but Korea does offers a lot of opportunities more than those countries. It is important to note that the 600,000 won is for the first year of application. On a monthly basis you will receive that amount. During your second year of studies at the university, the money will be increased to 700,000 won when you're doing your Master of Science. And then for PhD applicant, they will receive 1 million Korean won per month. And then this is how the money has been broken down. It is very important that you look at this. They would support even your health insurance, but that will be 60% coverage. You would have to pay the remaining 40%. And then for research assistant, there is this money that will be allocated to help students with their research. It does not mean you receive the money, but in case you have any research project that you need to undertake, your professor will make sure you always have the funding. And then for housing, these are the housing options that are available. It does not mean they'll provide you housing. It simply means that this is the amount that you would pay if you want to stay in the dormitory that is located at the university. We already talked about health insurance. And then they would also reimburse your one-time flight ticket into Korea. I'll place another video down in the description about details on financial coverage by Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology, so you might want to click that video to know more about the financial benefits that come along with you studying at this university institute that is located in Gwangju, a very beautiful city in South Korea. Now let's get into the business of today, applying for admission and a scholarship into the university institute. This is the page with the announcement. All you need to do is close it, and then the next thing is you need to enter your email or password if you already have an account in the system. But if you do not have an account in the system, you need to apply by signing up. Here you have to input your family name, given names, middle name, date of birth, gender, marital status. For family name, let's go ahead and fill it up. It is important to note that I will blur some of this information because YouTube might flag the video, because it will be like I am breaching the policy of private information. So you might not be able to see what I'm typing. You have to go ahead and input your date of birth, your gender, male or female, marital status. If you're married, say married. If you're not married, say single. You have to input your phone number. Nationality, select your nationality. Here we will go with, let's say, Ghana in Africa, and then you must input the zip code, and then you must input an address. If you do not have an address, you can input the university address where you graduated from. Recruiter, it's foreign, you cannot change it. The year is 2024 and it's second semester fall. So which department? We will select, for this situation, let's go with School of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. And then next thing is you have to input an email, and then you have to skip and then put yahoo.com or gmail.com because they already have it inserted for you. So you just need to go ahead and then create a password. And the next thing is personal information collection and uses. You have to click on privacy policy to view the policy, and then click on check, and then it will check the personal information. And then next thing is you need to go ahead and write down proposed laboratory in your favorite department at GIS or desired academic advisor. So that is where this information, where I was saying you need to have this document open, because you have the departments. We went through the departments. These are the different departments and these are the page numbers. We want to apply for School of Electrical Engineering and Computer. That is on page 23. You have to go to page 23 to find information about the different professors that are available there. This is where the idea of professor funded scholarship, on another video that I usually talk about how to get a professor funded scholarship in South Korea. This is where you have to research, find out information about a professor by going to the university website and look for documents like this one, where you can get the name of the professor and then try to research about them. So this is it, School of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. So this is the faculty. For example, if I want to know more about this person, Gwangju, we're talking here about professor funded scholarship. This is like an example. If you want to ask for professor funded scholarship, though this is not professor funded scholarship, I'll provide a link to a professor funded scholarship down in the description, because I have another video on how to get a professor funded scholarship. All you need to do is just go to Google with this name and then try to search for this person. Some of them do have personal websites or information even on this Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology website, where you can like see their past publications and then read about them. You must make sure you are writing the name of a professor who is in the same area of research interest as you. I repeat, you must make sure you input the name of a professor who is in the same area of research interest like you. For example, here we are talking about electrical engineering and computer science. For example, you might be interested in carrying out a research on AI or maybe data mining. So you must make sure you research the professors and make sure they are interested in data mining or AI. So you must be specific with the area of research that you want to apply, and make sure you're writing down the name of the professor who is in the same area of research that you're interested in carrying out research, so that the two of you would be speaking the same language. So you have to write down the name of the professor. So for this one, we'll go with Hong Sung Min and Gwangju. So you have to go back to this website and write the first professor name is Hong. Remember, there is a comma, and the next thing is you have to save. Remember your username and your password. Do you want to save? Say yes, and then it will take you now to the application page proper. You have a whole list of areas that you would have to navigate through, input the informations that are here. It's not a very complicated application process, so do not think too much about it. And it's important that you make sure you save after every page. There is the save button after every area. In case your laptop has a problem, you can always come back. You have your detailed information here. The next thing is you need to input your telephone number, and then another thing is you need to upload your photo, upload your picture. We will just upload any random internet picture. This is it. Prior contact. It is important to note that there is a prior contact here. For some MS majors, they might require you to contact a professor. Prior contact simply means have you already contacted a professor. But if you look here, Master of Science, it says it's optional. If you have contacted a professor, then go ahead and say yes, I've contacted a professor. For PhD, some are mandatory, which means you must contact a professor. For example, if you want to study chemistry at the PhD level, you must contact a professor under the PhD department. And then for integrated master and PhD, some are optional, some are mandatory. So it's very important that you make sure you know that the major you're applying for does not require you to contact a professor before applying. That being said, next thing that you're supposed to do is save, and then go now to the next one, application information. For this one, you're supposed to input your Korean language proficiency. Is it fair? Is it good? Is it none? Is it poor? If you do not know anything in Korean language, say none. If you know at least 안녕하세요, just basic greetings, go ahead and select poor. And then is your English native? Native means you're either from maybe the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England. Is English the language of instruction at your home institution? It's either yes or no. So if English is the language of instruction from the university where you just graduated or are about to graduate, take yes. And then if no, you have to take another language. So for example, English is not my official language. For example, next thing is you have to input French, because some students might be applying maybe from India, Pakistan or other countries where they do not use English. So you have to indicate here that okay, I studied at the university but we do not use English as the official language. You write down the language that they teach you at the university in. How did you come to know about GIS? You can say from the internet, or maybe from another, like maybe a YouTube, or maybe from a GIS student, that is a student who is already at the university, or maybe from your advisor, like your university professor has some contacts with the professors at GIST. Maybe that's how you got to know. So you have to tell them how you got to know about GIST. For this purpose, you will take internet, like Google search. Application for matriculation fee waiver. Do you want to apply for the matriculation fee waiver that we talked about? Then you have to click on yes if you don't want to pay the 680,000 Korean won. That's about $680. So you would have to explain why you think they should waive the matriculation fee. You can like explain the financial situation of your family, but don't try to sound too desperate. For example, maybe your family is poor, but your family being poor acted as a motivation for you to take your education seriously, and you had to devise strategies to like help your family. Like after, for example, you go to school, come back, and then you probably go and do some business somewhere, sell things to help sustain you at school and your family at home. You were like able to do some kind of trading, do some kind of activity that would generate you money. So you have to prove to them that financially you were struggling, but you did not make it act as a disadvantage to you. It instead helped to motivate you to try to look for means to sustain yourself financially by doing some part-time jobs here and there to raise some money that was able to help you go through your studies. So say something positive while at the same time explaining your situation, because what I know about Koreans is that they like to hear about our stories, our difficulties in life, but they want to also see how we were able to overcome those difficulties and then excel in our education. You are not supposed to sound desperate and too desperate to the point where you're not trying to show some positive spirit. That being said, the next thing is please type information if there is a disability. If you have any disability, then physical, maybe communication, like for example speech, hearing impairment, you have to indicate and maybe write about learning. If you have any learning difficulties, explain there. Next one is recommendation letter. So here you have this information that I've already filled out here, like the Johnson University of Ghana, and then you have email, nationality, the department, physics. So if they have contact number, like their university contact number, write it down. Then the second one, they are supposed to be two rephrased. You have the names here, their nationality. For example, maybe you had a professor at the university in Ghana, but the professor is from the United States. You have to write nationality United States, so it must not necessarily be Ghana. You have to write the nationality of your professor, especially your supervising professor or the professor who is issuing you a letter of recommendation. You have to input their email address, and this is where it is important. After inputting all of this information, including their contact numbers, take note that I will blur some of this information because I don't want YouTube to flag the video. It is important to make sure you click on send recommendation form 2 times on referee 1 and referee 2. It's important. Know that in some areas where I'll call names, I would equally make sure I flag it. You might not hear anything because I don't want YouTube to block the video. That being said, the next thing is your education. So for example, let's say you want to apply for a Master of Science or maybe a PhD. If you're applying for PhD, you have to click on new and then write the detailed information about your academic degree information here on one, and then the second one you click the second one and then write about your Master of Science information. But for this one, we will assume that we are applying just for a Master of Science. We are not going to spend too much time writing too much here. It's important to go ahead and then click on degree. What did you study? Bachelor of Science. And next one, date of graduation. Let's assume that you went to school in 2019. That's April 2nd. And then academic advisor, you have to write down the name of your academic advisor. So it should be one of the persons who is either supervising you, so you have to write down their name. Next one is the college. Next one is the country. Next one is the college. College, Ghana University. And then subject of your thesis, atomic matter. GPA, let's say it was 3.6 on a scale of what? It's either on a scale of 4.5, 4.3, 4.0, 5.5, or maybe it's on a 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. You have to make sure you select one. Let's say it's on a scale of 4.3 here. If you have any extra information, you can write it down there. Next thing, make sure you save. It says here education admission date is required, so whenever there's an error it will tell you. So here we have graduation date. We did not write down admission date. We have to write down the admission date. It is the admission date that is supposed to be 2019 actually. Sorry. Okay, so we will go here and then change this one to 2024 even. We just graduated a few days behind. That being said, you have to make sure you look here. There is extra information here. There is the division. Maybe you had an upper division class, maybe it's level 400, division etc. Standing, maybe you were fourth, standing total out of maybe 45 students in your class. Here where it says divisions etc, maybe there is an upper division and then there is like maybe a fourth class lower division. But don't worry about this one. If you do not understand this, skip and then go to the next one. Degree verification information. Here you will take full responsibility for the accuracy of the documentation that you provide. Here they will just want to make sure you are not falsifying or providing any fake information. So you have to write down the name of your university, Ghana University. Then next thing is complete name including former names. Go ahead here and write your name, your full names here, complete names, full name, your student number, date when your degree was conferred to you. It's important that you write that information. Degree title, Master of Physics, university registrar's name. If you have your registrar's information, you must input this information. It is very important that you input this information. I had one message from one student who was asking, I graduated long time ago. Write the current registrar's information. It is even better for you to write the current registrar's information because they might contact the current registrar to find out if you actually graduated from that university. So if you have the information on your current registrar, go ahead and provide it. It's a must. As you've seen here, they have the red asterisk. You cannot skip this area. It will not allow you to proceed to the next step. So you have to save. And the next one is family members. If you have family members, probably you have a mom. Here we will take the first one is your father. You have to write down the name. Age, you have to provide their age. Residency, maybe Accra. Occupation, maybe farmer. You have to provide the information. And then next one, you can go ahead and then select mother and do the same. If you have a brother, a sister, husband, provide the information if you want to provide it. It's good to provide it because you might be in Korea and decide to invite a family member to come and visit you. It's normal for a student to invite their parents, invite their wife, invite their brother to come and visit them in South Korea. All they need to know is that for real you are a student in the university. So if you provide that information, it will be good. And then the next one is career. If you are working, provide the information. You have to write down the name of the company. Let's say for example here you have to click on new, and let's say you work for Apple. You have to write Apple and then the date when you started working for Apple. Maybe you started working for Apple, but since we just graduated, we have not yet gotten a job, we just want to proceed to a master's degree. But if you know that you graduated some few years back and you have been working, you need to provide the information here. Certified English proficiency. Here they want you to provide an English proficiency like the IELTS, TOEFL and the rest. But if you have but a document from your university that proves that English is the medium of instruction, you need to click on this. It's important. In that situation, you don't need to fill out this space. But if you have an IELTS, you have to uncheck conditional ambition and then click on new and then go ahead and select, maybe you have TOEIC, your score, your test date. It's very important, the year, the month, the date. But if you do not have any of those, you can apply with conditional admission. It's important. The next one is study plan and self-introduction. This is the most important. This is the key to your application. It is important that you focus on writing a good knowledge of your major. For example, since we've decided to maybe study computer science, data mining or data mining, you have to prove to them that you have enough knowledge about data mining and as to why you are interested in this data mining. This is where you have to bring in your A game. Prove to them that you have enough knowledge about the major that you are applying for by writing a convincing motivation letter. This is actually a motivation letter, though it says study plan and self-introduction. So you have to tell them the reason as to why you think you want to study in South Korea. There are many positive things about South Korea. The fact that South Korea was able to develop very fast after coming out of a war with North Korea that saw the country being divided into North and South Korea. The country has developed very fast, rapidly, technologically wise. You think it's a country where your country should be able to learn from South Korea's economic and technological developments. Those are ideas. If you go online on Google, you will read a lot about South Korea. It can be a reason that you can use it to your advantage. Key achievements, you have to tell them the different achievements that you've had while studying. Even if you received some awards when you were maybe a high school or maybe doing your Bachelor of Science, show them those awards. Maybe you won some contest. Every achievement that you've obtained, be it in sports or academics, bring them here. It's important. Do not minimize any achievement that you've obtained. Goal of study and study plan. It's important that you come out with your goal of study. There is a lot of information on the internet about goal of study. What is the reason for you wanting to study the major? What is the reason for you wanting to study in South Korea? Is there a particular problem that you've observed in your home country and you feel as if you should go and study this major? You might be a solution to solving that problem that you found in your country. For example, maybe most companies are coming up and they lack data miners. You should be able to identify something that you think is very important that is lacking in your country and your society, and you feel like if you obtain this degree, it's going to give you the knowledge that will help you to solve that problem. Action plan after study. What do you plan to do? Are you planning to stay in South Korea and work? It's normal for you to say, okay, you would want to acquire some maybe experience by working in South Korea before then looking for a job in your country and then go and work in your country. You have to tell them your plans after studies. Self-introduction. This is where you will tell them about yourself, your educational journey, the things that you've gone through in life, and how they have inspired you to become who you are today. And then the next area here, you're supposed to upload your Bachelor of Science degree. It's simple. All you need to do is click on upload and then select the document from your computer. So these are documents that were used to apply for the ARMA Plus scholarship. That's why you see be a Bachelor of Arts, because ARMA Plus scholarship is the scholarship that is provided at Korean National University of Arts. So it is mostly for art students. So we will use it as an example to upload and then show you how you can go about uploading the different documents. Since we are applying for a Master of Science, you have to make sure you upload your Bachelor of Science degree and your Bachelor of Science transcripts. So you have to select transcript and then upload. Very important that you upload all those documents. As you have seen here, they say applicants who apply for PhD only, notarized copy is accepted. Only notarized copy is accepted. It is important to make sure that when you're applying for this degree at Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology, you have already notarized your documents at the Korean Embassy, or maybe you've authenticated them. You've notarized them at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs if your country is a signatory to Convention of Countries that are authorized to notarize documents, or you've notarized or you've authenticated your documents at the Korean Embassy. There is a process for that. So it's important to take note of this. It says only notarized copy is accepted, so you must make sure you notarize the document. And then for the English test, this is it. You have to upload. For example, if you have IELTS or TOEFL or TOEIC, upload it here. But if you don't have it and you had selected the other option, we will see it down. So a copy of passport, it's a must. They say if you do not have a passport now, please upload your ID, which is translated in English. So you can use your home country national ID, but it must be in English. And then a certificate of English proficiency by your home university. Read this information. If you check the conditional admission box at the certified English proficiency section, you should upload a certificate of English proficiency by your home university. These are for those who graduated from a university where English is used as a medium of instruction. So you can go ahead and upload that document. It's English proficiency, letter of recommendation for fee waiver. We talked about the letter of recommendation for fee waiver that you're supposed to obtain from your head of department or from your dean. This is it here. It says if you want to be waived your matriculation fee, you must submit an additional letter of recommendation. So in total, you submit 3 letters of recommendation by the dean, head of the department of your home university. Please download a form from the GIS website, and recommender signature or stamp must be included. We talked about that document here. So if you go back to this document, which I advise that you should have it open, this is it, matriculation fee waiver application form. It must be provided if you want your matriculation fee to be waived. Normally your dean or head of department will fill out that form and then give it to you, and then you can scan and upload. You can actually obtain another copy of the document here, either in Word or PDF. Before I continue, there is this important information about the certificate of English proficiency. You have these 2 documents here that you must read. It says here, any student admitted to the institute with conditional admission due to unavailability of official English test must, it's important, within 6 months from the date of admission, submit official English test result that meets the application criteria for the institutions. Know that if you get accepted under this conditional offer, you must make sure you provide one of the English proficiency test scores that are here. It's very important that you make sure you know that when you'll be in South Korea, within the first 6 months, you must make sure you write either IELTS. There are many IELTS centers and many TOEFL centers in South Korea. I've written IELTS a couple of times, so I know what I'm talking about. So if you have any additional reference letters, you can go ahead. They say recommendations are made by the advisor, dean and department head. Submission can only be made through the online system and are submitted directly by the recommender. So for the other 2 letters of recommendation, you have this information here. Make sure you've already sent them the message, as we talked about, using this send recommendation form, because you're supposed to send it 2 times to your recommenders. And the next thing is you have to agree and then finally submit. That being said, this is how you go about applying to study at Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology in South Korea. I think this video has been very long. I'll end the video here, but there are other scholarship opportunity videos down in the description section of this video. Go ahead and take a look at them. It's not a bad thing to apply for even 3 or 4 different universities in South Korea to increase your chances of getting a scholarship. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.